English translation, 635th contact. Friday, the 20th of November 2015, 10:55 hours.
Here you are, Florina. Be welcomed and greetings to you.
Yes, I also greet you. Unfortunately, I only have about half an hour, as I told you when I called you. Therefore, it would be good if we immediately discussed what Ptah and Quetzal instructed me to explain to you.
Of course.
Then here's what's important. Quetzal currently finds no way to come here himself, because he is occupied by a very important thing that he cannot postpone or circumvent. So last night he and Ptah, independently of each other, tried to resolve the troublesome matter by making their own foresight. You have asked for advice, which I had to pass on to Ptah and Quetzal. And the following has arisen from their side with regard to what, however, is not to be discussed officially, but only privately orally, so we must hold our conversation in this way.
Of course, that's not a problem. What you're saying about is, do we have to talk about this again?
Yes, because the matter must be raised again briefly and actually seen and understood as necessary, because Ptah and Quetzal also express it in the same way. Everything results according to the predictions of Ptah and Quetzal, which they carried out in 2012 and found that the unfaithful, dishonorable of in 2015, according to all the efforts lacking in loyalty, about which you were informed at the time, and which you...
As I told you, I followed the instructions and kept quiet. From the very beginning, the events that were now taking place were so cobbled together by the inadequacies of the people affected that the result was inevitable, as Ptah and Quetzal were already able to ascertain by looking ahead in January 2012. And the fact that the whole thing was really unavoidable has proved itself since then, because as you yourself know, it could not be prevented, as the predictions of Quetzal and Ptah already made clear.
There was no doubt about that. Then it is necessary that you, and the other stays the way it was, as I explained to you yesterday on behalf of Quetzal. And if everything is handled as Quetzal advises, then everything should be done in the best satisfactory way when the matter is over, because then the disturbing factors are sorted out and no longer disadvantageous. It must also be said, however, that unfortunately there will still be a negative factor that must be countered in the right way, in the way that...
Such behavior among the people of Earth is unfortunately unavoidable, because they constantly strive to put their own guilt on others' shoulders, contradicting themselves, because they in no way strive to change for the better, the right, and the sensible. And when man rises above himself and thinks that he is smarter and smarter than men who effectively know and control a thing better, then they have to run into their misfortune if they do not want to accept the good and honest help and do not accept it because they just wrongly believe that they are capable of being themselves and master over their actions and behavior, although in truth, they are not.
I know that, and it actually applies to the factor I still mentioned exactly within this framework. And it is indeed the case with Earth humans that it is easier for many of them to hide their own mistakes, to attribute them to others and to blame their own failures on their fellow human beings, because they themselves are incapable of building up and controlling themselves and their behavior in a valuable way. And it is also completely wrong for many of them to emphasize self-righteousness. And the 5 letters which I was allowed to see and express my opinion on, I find so contradictory. Self-opinionated, but also self-pitying and on the other hand unjustifiably accusing of fellow human beings, as well as completely thoughtless, stupid, and also slanderous with regard to those who are no more and no less unjustly accused, because the all-around given own misconduct, non-learning, and failure is blamed on the others.
You're right about that. We have often talked about this at our meetings, as it has been the case in conversations between you and me again and again, which then went out into the world through the contact reports, but which obviously did not fruit anything with certain people and probably will not do it in the future. Many Earth humans are very much consumed by themselves and think they are the greatest, and they believe that they do not have to fit into a correct order and could direct their fellow human beings around at will, command them and keep their fingers crossed for them so that they may trace and not be rebellious. Unfortunately, these people in their arrogance still believe themselves to be very clever and think that the others are so stupid that they cannot notice what is really going on. They also believe that they can do everything better, even though they have no ability to do so and must be glad that other people are in front of them to give them instructions, whether they are working or living.
Similarly, I wanted to continue to say something and refer to what we have discussed, but what we should not openly call good, like Ptah and Quetzal.
Well, then everything's settled. How about what I asked you yesterday so you could recite it to Ptah?
Ptah has instructed me to briefly explain the following to you as an exception. Collagen is a flexible and stable protein that occurs naturally in the body and is important for bones, tendons, ligaments, and skin. Collagen gives these structures extreme tensile strength, but similar to a movable rubber band, they remain flexible to a certain extent. There is the gelatin-like substance collagen hydrolysate, which is obtained from collagen and can also be taken by humans as a dietary supplement. To obtain the gelatin, the collagen must be heated or hydrolyzed by bases or acids or dissolved in water, after which it must of course be cleaned, dried, and finely ground. In order to use it in the food industry, it is necessary that the collagen hydrolysate is hydrolyzed by added enzymes and then used in various areas. Collagen hydrolysate has a very positive effect on the joints, including the joint cartilage. If taken regularly, such as a dietary supplement in the form of capsules or tablets, it stimulates the formation of collagen in the joints. Regular use of collagen hydrolysate, which is also used by the earth humans in industry and transplantation medicine, prevents cartilage atrophy and thus arthrosis, and prevents joint pain from developing in the first place. Arthrosis can occur not only in the elderly, whose cartilage has been worn out as a result of many years of stress, but also in young people who are often to blame for themselves through too frequent use of mountain climbs, gymnastics, sport, swimming, dancing, and large hikes. Arthrosis can also occur as a result of normal wear and tear, hard work, or a malfunction in the production of the necessary substances.
Thanks, that information will do.
Well, I'll have to leave now. Goodbye, dear father friend.
Also, goodbye.